Softa, the soda that tasted like backyard afternoons, pocket money luxuries, school tuck shops. It was Kenyan, loud, and cheeky. And for a while, it made Coca-Cola sweat. Today we are telling the full Softa story. How it started, who made it, the flavors you miss, the boardroom headaches, and how a local fizz fizzled out. Softa was started by Peter Kugoro and his team under Kugoro Foods and Softa Bottling in the late 1990s. Formally, we can put the start around 1997 to 1998. Peter had been in business for years. Before that, he'd built other ventures and he knew how to hustle. He bought the bottling line from Highlands Mineral or picked up an existing facility and decided to take a swing at the soft drink giants. That's how Softa was born. Local, hungry, and ready to play. And by the way, starting a soda company, it's not just mixing sugar and fizz. You need bottles, a production line, distribution trucks, and most painfully, cash to keep the line running when people learn your name. Softa wasn't a one-note cola. They went full spectrum. Cola, orange, bitter lemon, lemonade, pineapple, and even niche flavors that kids loved. The bottles were bright, loud, and friendly. The kind of packaging that shouted, "Pick me!" Pricing was a genius play. Softa aimed at low-income consumers with a cheaper option than the multinationals, and that translated into a massive street-level appeal. In the street market where every shilling counts, a cheaper, tasty soda can be more attractive than a brand with a fancy logo. Softa didn't just sit in supermarkets. It fought for the tuck shops, kiosks, boda stands, and small kiosks in towns around Nairobi. By focusing on distribution within a 200-kilometer radius of Nairobi, they built local dominance. At their peak in the mid-2000s, they reportedly commanded huge local market shares in those areas, some reporting they controlled 70 to 80% market share within that radius in certain years. That's not national Coca-Cola share, but it's monumentally strong regionally. Owning a region is powerful. If you own the kiosks between Nakuru and Embu, people in those countries will know your bottle before the bigger brands get a look in. There was a time Softa soda felt unstoppable. They were nimble, cheaper, and closer to their customers. Local radio jingles, market stalls stacked with crates, kids running with Softa bottles in hand. That was the image. By 2004, Softa captured around 10% of the national carbonated market, a serious number when Coca-Cola ruled almost everything. And by some counts, Softa soda were the default in many county towns. That kind of success from a local brewer is rare, and it made the story feel like a David versus Goliath moment. People love an underdog, especially one that tastes good and doesn't steal your change. Here is where the plot thickens. Softa wasn't just fighting for customers, it was fighting for survival. Multinationals like Coca-Cola and other global players, they had scale, deeper pockets, and aggressive distribution. Peter Kuguru had spoken publicly about unfair trade practices and how competition got stiffer. In interviews and reporting, he explained that without a strong joint venture partner or big capital injection, Softa couldn't keep pace with pricing wars, marketing, and distribution expansion the giants commanded. When the other side can run at a loss to protect market share, the smaller players either find deep pocket partners or get squeezed out. In the 2010s, and especially by mid-2010s, Softa's owners started looking for partners. There were attempts to restructure, to sell stakes, and to find investors who could scale production and distribution. But those talks never gave the clean capital solution Softa needed. By around 2016 onwards, operations slowed, and eventually the company wound down production and sold assets. Peter Kuguru himself admitted that the business environment became tough, and he started selling assets to cover operations and eventually stopped production. By 2019 to 2020, the company was effectively shut or severely scaled down. Starting is romantic. Scaling is the brutal exam. Now, what can we learn? Softa's story is a masterclass in the brutal realities of retail and FMCG in Africa. First, the capital intensity. You need huge money to scale and to survive pricing wars. Then, the distribution costs, trucks, cold storage, and a million logistics headaches. Then, market rules. Multinationals sometimes play by rules that feel unfair to smaller players. Then also the timing. Sometimes you win customers, but you lose to scale. Peter Kuguru said that they had the product and local love, but not the partner who could take the fight to the global players. He later moved to other businesses, but kept the memories. And the people who grew up with Softa still remember the fizz. A great product doesn't always equal a lasting company, but it gives you a great story to tell. Think about the factory workers, the lorry drivers, the tuck shop owners, all who relied on Softa crates to pay school fees. When Softa folded or shrunk, livelihoods were hit. The closure wasn't just a corporate headline, it was childhoods and salaries. And culturally, Softa became one of those brands people mention with a laugh and a sigh. Remember Softa? That sweet orange? After Softa stopped full production, Kuguru didn't vanish. His company, Kuguru Foods Complex, has various business arms and he's talked about lessons learned. Softa faded from shelves, but the brand lives as memory. There have been occasional talks and videos reflecting on Softa's rise and fall, and people seem to bring it up as a lesson for Kenyan entrepreneurship. Brands die, but legends don't. This is not just a soda story. It's Kenya's industrial story. It's about what it takes for local companies to scale against giants. Money, policy, distribution, and sometimes luck. Softa showed Kenyans that local companies can make great products. The moral: celebrate the wins, study the losses, and remember these lessons when supporting local brands. So yeah, that's it on Softa. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.